It wasn't about money. It was about dignity. It was about recognizing that there are wrongs that we have committed as a nation to fellow Kenyans, subjecting them, to treatment that went deep into their dignity. When I stood in Mandera and announced the construction of the road from Isiolo to Mandera, it was the same thing, that a whole part of Kenya, by policy, was relegated because of the policy that was said that there are parts of Kenya, section paper number 1, or was it number 10, of 1965, a policy document of government that said some parts of Kenya will be developed and others will not. These are things people take for granted. But as a result of what was done by government, huge sections of Kenya, northern part of Kenya especially, was denied the opportunity to develop like the rest of Kenya. It is still the same thing. That's why I'm saying what we are doing today is part of correcting the injustices of the past. It is the same thing. When I stood 3 months ago in Mombasa and pronounced myself on what we are doing to redress the squatter problem in our coast region that has subjected millions of citizens to the indignity of being squatters, secondary citizens in their own country. They are treated lesser than other Kenyans. It is part of repairing our nation. I remember very well, and this is a good occasion for me to say, when I decided to appoint General Ogolla, I was correcting the negative profiling of some of our communities, that there are positions that are reserved for some people and there are positions that can never be occupied by other people. An injustice and a stigma on a whole community. It needed to be corrected. And it is the same thing when it came to the formation of the broad-based government. I remember very well, my brother, the Honorable Raila Odinga, had a different opinion of who should be the Minister for Finance. And I remember I told him that, my brother, if there is one place I will defy you, is that I am going to appoint a person from Luo Nyanza to be the first Cabinet Secretary or Minister for Finance. Again, to correct a negative profiling of a whole community that they don't care about property. Property belongs to some people, the economy belongs to some. No. Listen, good people. And it is also the same reason why I have made the decision that development in Kenya is never going to be done again on account of which citizen has voted in which direction. That we are going to develop this nation equally, and every part of Kenya deserves a share of development like any other. That we are going to remove the mentality that there are those who have more shares than others. This is one nation. And finally, when we developed the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, it was also about correcting this nation. You know, there is a perception in Kenya that it is okay for people to be poor. There are people who are made to be poor. There are people who are made to stay in slums. And there are the rest of us. There are people who are supposed to remain jobless. There are people, do you know, for example, good people, when we talk about the people in slums, just explain to me how the rest of us here have houses that have 3-4 toilets. There is a citizen in Kenya who doesn't have a toilet and has to pay to use a toilet, and it is supposed to be okay. How is that supposed to be okay? What kind of indignity do we make other citizens to go through? That there are people who become sick, but they cannot go to hospital. They will wait to die because they have no way of paying their way in hospital. And it's supposed to be okay. And then, when we rally the country to carry everybody on board, that those of us who have a privilege to have, those of us who have a privilege to have a pay slip, to have a job,